dear participants, this will be this is just a knowledge sharing forum where we are going to interact with each other. I hope so, probably because the number of participants are large. So probably we'll do it through chat box, or if someone wants to speak up, please feel free to do so. Because this is an topic which is very much what I'll say requires a kind of thought provoking, as well as at the same time need of the hour, as madam said. But still the gap remains, and that's a really an irony about that. So let me share you the agenda for my next 70 minutes or so. So I'll be starting with the aspect of why this session. Usually when I talks to the new audience, my initial few minutes are for establishing the need of the session, because until unless there is no need of the session, I think the purpose fails. So 2025 to 25 minutes to for that. Then we'll go and talk about industry academia collaboration. Why this collaboration, right? And what are the benefits of this collaboration to both the parties? Until unless there are not benefits to both the parties, the collaboration will not. It's a partnership, right? And in partnership, until unless not both the partners doesn't get benefits, the partnership will not be able to sustain. So we are going to talk about a little bit on the benefit sides. Then we'll see what are the ways in which we can collaborate, or probably the both the parties. So we are going to talk about the three pillars of collaborations, and we'll see that what are those three pillars under which academia and industry can collaborate, and we see both the perspectives, that is the perspective of the industry as well as the academia per se. So I don't know. So anytime if you have any questions or any queries or any observations, please feel free to provide your valuable inputs for the benefit of all. As I said, this is a knowledge sharing session, so please feel free to provide any inputs if you have. Right. So as I said, let me start with the topic why this session for you, right? And we'll talk about some aspects of related to change. Why this session? So need of the session is because of the change that is happening in and around us. So whether we accept it or we do not accept it, the change is happening. Even look at the election results as well, right? So the point is the change is happening whether we accept it or not. But the beauty of the change is that we as a humans are usually starts with a negative connotation towards this word change. Just look at it, or assume a person who is habitual of living in a very dirty and a very unhygienic environment, and you take out this person and put this person into a very clean and a hygienic environment. What the first thing that person will do if you'll do it suddenly? Right? So there will be a kind of resistance by that particular person. Now, if you look at it, this person, though you are putting him for the good of him or her, still is going to resist that, because that's in human nature. But if you look at it, the change is also, if you just look at the word spelling of this word change, and if I replace the alphabet G by alphabet C in the spelling, and the same word becomes chance. Change becomes a chance. So change is also a chance, an opportunity to all of us. Now let's look at what are the things that are changing. But prior to that, it is also the only constant in the life. And this is not said by me, this is said by Lord Gautam Buddha. So definitely it must be true. So let's look at what are the things that are changing. One of the things that is creating a huge amount of change is that the workforce of today comprises of 5 generations together. And these generations are Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z primarily. primarily, if you look at it, today's workforce comprises of three generations. One is Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Now the question is, how does that change? What is the how do I know whether I'm into a Gen X or a Gen Y? You might have heard Gen Y is also known as millennials. These generation Y is also known as the millennials. My question to all of you is, how do I know whether I belongs to Gen X, Gen Y, or Gen Z? I'll wait for 5 seconds. From the year they are born. Very absolutely correct, Pawandeep Kaur. Very absolutely correct, Pawan ma'am. You are absolutely correct there. It is based on the year in which we are born. So anyone born between 65 to 80s are Gen X, 81 to 96 Gen Y or millennials, 97 to 2012 they are Gen Z, right? And 2012 onwards, they are known as now, this next generation is known as Gen Alpha. So if you look at it, this is the word. But the question arises, what happens? What changes in 15 years? Is it something very drastic changes happen? What are the changes that happen because of this? So Gen X is how significantly different from a Gen Y, which is very significantly different to Gen Z, Gen Z. Okay, my question to all of you, how many of you recognizes this symbol? Just raise hands or just put in the chat box, what is this symbol? That is what I'm putting here. What is this symbol? Someone has said yes, but what is this? Yeah, okay, very great. Okay, Dr. Ranjani ma'am, just can you tell me which generation you belong to? I'm not asking your age, just your generation. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. It's a symbol of love, and it's comes from Korean heart, what you call as Korean symbol of heart, right? Small heart, right? Absolutely correct, ma'am. I wanted to know that. You are from which? Your generation is Gen Z or Gen Alpha, right? Am I correct? So, absolutely correct, sir. Raja Rajeshwaran, sir, as well. These are absolutely correct. So, I'm interested to know, Ranjani, ma'am. Your daughter is from, you are from which generation, and your daughter is from which generation? And she might have answered in half a second. Am I correct? I just wanted to know that to prove my point. This is what is generation gap is. No doubt it Gen Z. Absolutely correct. So your daughter is from Gen Z. That's what I was expecting, right? So see, look at it. This is what the difference is. This is the generation gap, and it's not only because of the technology changes. It is various other factors as well. Usually we have this thing in our mind that this thing happens because of the technology change. It's not only the technology change. No doubt technology change is also a major contributor here, but it is also about your choices, your preferences, your attitude. Just to reinforce my point, think of it. I'm just asking, just relate with what I'm just saying, right? Suppose you go to a bank. Usually now we don't go to a bank. Let's say you go to a bank and you have a 5 minutes work there. You know that it's just merely a 5 minutes work. No doubt, no offense taken. No, I'm not demeaning any nationalized bank. Think of an old time, right? So you go to a nationalized bank, suppose, or any other bank, let's say, and the person there takes, instead of 5 minutes, take 45 to 50 minutes to complete that work. Now think of it. What will be your reactions? I'll tell you the reactions of three different generations. My father, if he'll go with me, right? Right now he's no longer with me. But suppose he gone there. I have seen this, right? I'm telling you, and this is my own experience, my own observation, which I'm narrating to you. The moment we'll go together, if this happens, and usually it used to happen, my father, even after the 45 to 50 minutes when his works gets completed, he'll stand up, he'll fold his hands, do namaskar, say thank you to the person sitting on the other side who has done his job. Though he has taken 50 minutes for a 5 minutes job, still he'll be grateful that he has given and he has done his job, he will be very obliged to that person. On the other hand, I, who belongs to a Gen X, I belongs to Generation X, I will be like, mumbling in my mouth and saying, "Arey Baba, how's, these this their work culture is terrible. They don't know how to work. They should be retrained. Government should do something." I'll be mumbling, but I'll not be saying this thing aloud. While same thing, if the Gen Z person is there, he or she will be get in an argument with the employee or probably the branch manager even, and then when he or she is back at his workplace or at his home, they will post it on Twitter now, platform X, rather than Twitter, it's X, on X or Facebook or other social media networking sites. That's the difference. That's the difference between generation, and it is bringing a huge amount of change. Another big change is happening because of the number of connected devices in this world. Just compare the number of connected devices in the year 2003 with the number of connected devices in the year 2020. I have data till 2020 only, and you'll see, just look at the number of growth from just 500 million connected devices in 2003 to more than 50 billion connected devices in the year 2020. Now you will say, what is happening because of this? Now, because of this, there is a very new phenomena we are observing from quite a few years, and that is known as IoT. IoT, or Internet of Things, is nothing but at a very laymanish level. If you look at it from a layman's perspective, it is nothing but a connection of devices, a connected devices. Now, this is also bringing a huge amount of change in our life. Okay, cautions to all of you. Just write your answers in the chat box. I want all the three answers together. Please listen to my question carefully. I want your answers to be in the chat box in A, B, C together, because that is something very difficult to answer. I've seen that. World's largest taxi company, world's largest accommodation provider, and world's most valuable retailer. Still, I'm not able to get the answers. Are you Googling it? I can show you the answer. You don't have to Google it. Just give me the answers in that sense, right? Okay. Someone is saying Ola, Geo. I want world's largest taxi company, world's largest accommodation provider, world's most valuable retailer. Retailer means, I hope you understand, right? Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, sir. I think the Uber is the
Okay.
one who is the world the top as far as the
Okay, sir.
cab
Go
facility is
ahead. Second
concerned.
question.
And besides this, if we talk about the couriers and all that, then cargo services, then the FedEx is the number one company.
In which, sir?
FedEx in the cargo and the courier company and all that, the taking the because that is also considered as to be carriage, like
No. I'm
taking
asking
the
taxi
goods from
company,
one
sir.
place to.
Simple taxi company which we can
Okay,
catch.
okay, okay,
So your answer is
okay.
correct. But I want an answer for world's largest accommodation provider and world's most valuable retailer. Both other, Mehboob sir, your one answer is correct. I want the other two
Yeah,
answers as well.
sir. Sir, so far as the largest retailer is concerned, what I get to know that is IKEA. IKEA is one of the
Uh, Sorry,
large
world's most
company.
valuable retailer, sir. Not largest.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sir.
Retailer, and when
I
we
think
say
I don't know.
retailer, I hope IKEA is a furniture retailer only. I do agree,
Yes, sir.
right? Seller, furniture seller, but retailer, when it says it's a groceries and all this, like big bazaar,
Okay.
like that kind of thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so thank you, sir. Still, thank you for your
Yeah,
participation.
I think, sir.
So the
Yeah. Okay.
answer.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. You saying something, sir?
I was saying that so far recently, what I got to know that Amazon also is into the grocery and all that, but I don't think that they are the world's largest one.
No, they are not the world's largest, sir. They are the most valuable retailer. Amazon is the answer,
Right.
correct answer.
Yeah.
The world's largest retailer is Walmart,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
but most
You're right.
valuable is Amazon at this moment. So many of you have got the correct answer, absolutely correct. Then the answers are Uber, Airbnb. Many have given answer as Oyo, but Oyo is actually model on the Airbnb model only. If you look at it, it has been customized. The Ritesh Agrawal has customized his Oyo on Airbnb's functioning only. So the world's largest taxi company and the world's largest retailer, the most valuable retailer is Amazon. Though no doubt AWS is one of the biggest contributor there, but still for the record keep books, we can say that Amazon is the most valuable retailer. Now there are a lot of commonalities between these largest or the world's fastest growing bank and all these things. And if you look at it, what are these commonalities? One, these are all very much tax savvy firms, and they are mostly from the developed countries. But another interesting thing is this. So Uber is the world's largest taxi company, but interestingly, they do not own any taxis. Now, when I'm saying they do not own any taxis, that is from practical perspective rather than theoretical perspective. What I mean by practical and theoretical perspective here is that though they own a small fraction of taxis, right? But if you compare the number of cars that they have to offer in their fleet versus uh, the number of cars that they own, the ratio is very less. The ratio of number of cars that they own versus to the number of cars they offer in their fleet is very, very less. It's almost equal to zero. So that's why, from the practical perspective, they do not own any taxis. Similarly, Airbnb is the world's largest accommodation provider, but they do not own any real estate. Similarly, Amazon is the world's most valuable retailer, but again, from practical perspective, they do not hold any inventory. Again, what I'm saying, practical perspective and theoretical perspective, they do hold some inventory. What I mean here is that if you compare the number of SKUs for which they hold the inventory and find the ratio of it to with the number of SKUs that they offer to their customers, again you'll see it's almost equal to zero. Very, very less. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, any questions by any of the audience? I think someone has raised hands. Please feel free to raise questions if you have.
Sir, just to add on one thing, that Nike is one of the biggest brand in the sports, but you know that they don't have any single factory. They don't own a
Sir,
single factory of that.
sir, they do own a single factory, couple of factories in US where they do the high end jobs. So the only the high end shoes are produced there, very high end, as well as the some designing and research is done there. Absolutely correct. But if you compare it,
Right.
10 out of 9.5 shoes, 9.5 out of 10 shoes that Nike sells are not manufactured by them. They are
Right.
manufactured either in your Cambodia, Vietnam, or Thailand,
Yes,
and
sir.
so on. Absolutely correct, sir.
Right, sir.
Thank you for your input, sir. But sir, we are talking here. In manufacturing, the outsourcing was always there was in trend, but not in so big like what Nike is doing. But one is definitely sure that had I told you this particular aspect in 90s, you would have laughed at me like anything, right? We would have and these Gen X can very much relate to the Gen X people can relate to me that had we heard this thing in our 90s, in our school days or college days, we would have laughed at it like anything. But the world's largest taxi companies are no taxis. Can't happen. So this is the change, again, a change that is being happening. So can someone tell me what's happening here?
I think here also, as far as the cabs are concerned, what we consider that peoples are running their uh, company on the basis of third party, like as you very rightly said that
Sir,
they.
that is known as, those businesses are known as platform based businesses. So platforms are very different from pipeline based businesses. In my previous slide, I agree. Those are very different. So
Okay.
probably will not go into that aspect. But what I want
Okay.
to know is, sorry to stop you here in this,
Okay.
because
Sorry.
we like to cover. I like to know the this particular aspect. What is the interpretation of this picture that is being shown on your screen right now?
Sir,
Any
it seems that
interpretation, not just.
somebody, yeah, a policeman is there, and a person is lying down, and
Uh-huh. So
we
what
can't
policeman
say
is
whether
doing?
somebody is trying to save that person or somebody is trying to beating them,
So,
unless we would have something. Yeah.
so policeman is doing something. So someone has
Yeah.
posted this with a caption: UP police and atrocities, followed by a caution mark. So someone captioned this photo like this and tweeted it. It became viral. It was retweeted a few thousand times in a few couple of hours time. The trolling of UP police happened. Then UP police came into action and they posted something. They posted the whole video. So if I had shown, tell you that this particular picture was fraction of second before this picture was taken. So now your probably interpretation will completely change. So initially, some people might be thinking that this police wala is beating this particular girl. This is a girl who is lying down. So many of you might be thinking after watching this particular picture only that this police wala is beating this girl. But actually, what happened was this police wala went to a village, UP village, to catch a culprit. Now the culprit was the brother of this girl. In order to give time to her brother for escaping from the clutches of police, what she did was she held on to the collar of the police wala suddenly. So suddenly, as she held on to the collar, the police wala fell down on her, and in this photo, she was trying to just free himself from the clutches of the girl. Now, someone took a burst shot, in your mobile phone's cameras. So in mobile cameras, your mobile phones has cameras, and those cameras, there is a feature called a burst shot. Now in burst shot, what happens? Do a single click, and 14, 15 photos are taken within a time interval of very small fraction of seconds in that single click only. So the person did, the person took out this particular photo out of those 14, 15 frames, and out of this particular frame, he posted it. Now, can you arrest the UP police? Can arrest this person for defaming them under the IT Act? Anyone would like to answer this? No, this
Sir,
person.
sir,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
as far as the act is concerned, without any information, without any knowledge, without permission, you can't click such photograph. What I believe, sir, and I think posting of such photographs is completely illegal.
Sir, it's not illegal because A, this is not a morphed photo, right? This photo is genuine. B, the this police wala as an individual can do a case of saying that you have violated my privacy, but UP police cannot arrest that person on their own behalf for defaming themselves. They cannot arrest that person on the basis that this person has defamed UP police. They cannot do the arrest on that basis only. Because A, the photograph is not morphed, it's original. Second, the caption was what? UP police and atrocities followed with a caution mark. This caution mark is very critical in that caption. So that means what? This person is asking you whether UP police is committing atrocities or not. So this is something of very critical aspect. The social media has brought social networking, things has brought a lot of change. In Puducherry, in one of the universities, one of the lady faculty member, lost her job. The reason being very simple. She lost her job because she went on a vacation to a coastal area, and she posted her photographs of the vacation on her Instagram page. And because of this, she was fired from her job. She was fired because many of the parents of the students, of her students, complained to the authorities. They said that her photographs are inappropriate as a teacher, as many students were following her on Instagram. Yeah, Sujata Jayant Aher, ma'am. Sujata ma'am, like to say something, ma'am? Someone has raised hand. Any questions here? Okay. Right. So, interestingly, she lost her job. She filed a case in the court of law. So I don't know what happened in the. I was not able to follow that case. But this what happened. We have to be very careful about this social media post. Again, people says change comes slowly. Now for them, this is my answer. That change can happen very fast. Just look at the number of messages that are exchanged between people in a 1 minute time. So you can see that 59 million messages are exchanged between the people. Google search engine administers 4.1 million search queries in 1 minute. And if I change it to 2021, the same number, that 59 million, has increased to 69 million. On YouTube platform, 500 hours of content is uploaded every single minute. That is the amount of change that is happening around us. Again, caution to all of you. Any common between these? What is the commonalities between these firms? So if you know, these firms are all startups or were startups at one point of time. Like many of them has now graduated out, like Zomato has graduated out to be a startup. Paytm has graduated out from a startup. Nykaa has graduated out from a startup. But these are all startup. But there is a special thing about these. They were India's first 100 unicorns. And again, this is also bringing a huge amount of change, this startup culture. So there are a lot of firms which became unicorns in 2021. By the way, which startups are known as unicorns? Anyone has an idea? Which startups are known as unicorns? I want an answer from all of you in the chat box, please. On what basis I can say that a unicorn, a startup is a unicorn? It has acquired a status of unicorn. The answer here is not a turnover, but valuation, right? So these companies are valued as $1 billion or more. So if a startup is valued as, their valuation is done as $1 billion or more, they are known as unicorn startups. So India is again has become a hotbed of unicorns or hotbed of startups. We know there are more than 1 lakh registered startup. We have acquired this particular, this particular target has been achieved in last December only, December 2023. So by 31st December 2023, there are 1,17,254 registered startups. We are expected to reach the unicorns of 150 plus unicorns by 2025. So right now we are currently number 3 startup ecosystem in the world, behind US and China. And by 2025, we are projected to surpass China as well. Now this is also bringing a huge amount of change. Though startup has their own issues, their own problems. But the point is the change is happening. Just look at, how many of you know this lady? Anyone know this lady? So, just to show you.
Hi, मैं हूँ सना और आज मैं आपको मिलाने वाली हूँ बॉलीवुड सुपरस्टार से। लेकिन पहले देखते हैं उनकी आने वाली फिल्म की झलकियाँ।
Is the audio? Is it audible? In the video, the audio is audible.
It's audible and she
Audible, sir,
handling
audible.
the AI.
Right.
Hi
Absolutely correct.
आपके लेकर आया हूँ एक जवान और मेरे साथ हूँ आज तक एआई। थैंक यू शाहरुख। अच्छा बताइए, मुझ में और आप में कौन सी बात कॉमन है? वैसे तो बहुत कुछ होगा, लेकिन आप बताइए। चलिए मैं बता देती हूँ। शाहरुख खान और मुझ में ये बात कॉमन है कि हम दोनों हमेशा जवान रहेंगे। बिल्कुल। वैसे एक और बात कॉमन। कौन सी? आप सब ने दोनों का नाम तो सुना होगा। थैंक यू शाहरुख। वैसे आपका चार्ट देखकर तो मेरे एआई दिल में भी कुछ कुछ होता है। और हाँ, आई एम ऑल्सो 100% रेडी फॉर जवान विद द किक खान 7 सितंबर को आपके नजदीकी सिनेमा घरों में। Are you ready?
Now, what you have seen was the AI avatar of this. She is the AI avatar, right? Not a real human being, but she is doing the news anchoring. So you know this particular right symbol. It's nothing but Chat GPT. But do you know Devin? Who is Devin?
I think Devin is the person who developed this technology.
No, sir. Not the OpenAI. He's not the person who is responsible for OpenAI. But Devin is an autonomous software engineer, and it is an AI, autonomous AI operated software engineer. I'll show you that. So these are the areas which are going to be impacted hugely by this AI technology. 5 topics, but here it is: the first fully autonomous AI software engineer. So this is also bringing huge amount of change, right? In be it any field, even in the music, you have seen that this controversy that A.R. Rahman, wherein he gave music to this Lal Salam, where Thalaiva also appeared for a extended cameo, right? I think it was directed by his daughter Ashwarya. So here in this movie, A.R. Rahman used voices of some singers who were dead, and it was created a huge controversy. So the point is, we humans are hooked and machines are learning. I found this very funny but very realistic in today's time. This is also, bringing a huge amount of change, and this is changing our jobs, right? So the various job roles, you will see that various job roles has become redundant in today's time, while new job roles are emerging where there is a huge demand. So upskilling is the necessity, or it is the need of the hour. So we have to be very much up to date in terms of imparting futuristic skills to our students as well as to our participants. So if you look at it, because of this, it becomes need of our to go for outcome-based education. Though you have already talked, I'm quite sure this is the last day of your FDP, so you might have already talked a lot about outcome-based education. So we all know as per Tucker, outcome-based education is a process that involves the restructuring of curriculum, assessment, and reporting practices in education to reflect the achievement of higher order learning and mastery rather than the accumulation of course credits. So it's all about the skills, or the achieving the really what you were supposed to acquire after completing your education. So you follow the various process, starting from plan, do, check, and act, right? As we say, PDCA in management language. You do go start with the outcomes, right? We start with the mission of your, or vision and mission of your university or your institute or college, whatever the organization is. Go down to PEO, then go to PLO, to CLOs. You might be all aware about it. Then how does it you do it? You do it through syllabus. So the curriculum becomes an important integral part of achieving your outcomes. So if you look at it, the curriculum design is an integral part of your teaching learning process, and it is almost a starting point of you know converting your words into action. That means converting your objective of achieving the outcome-based education into a reality. That's the starting point. That's where you do the curriculum design. So the question comes, why industry-academia collaboration when you are going for curriculum design? Or what is the benefit? Because if you look at it, there are conflicting views on collaboration. So even if you look from a, many times, some of the faculty members have this kind of a perspective that collaboration is an additional work for me, because it becomes very difficult for me to combine what I am supposed to do primarily, that is teaching and research. But on the other hand, if you look at world's top universities or institutes, they have the other kind of a perspective. So their perspective is that collaboration with the industry is an integrated, reinforcing element of research and teaching. It is what naturally or what academia already does. But problem is, still, if many of us have this particular view, then still why there remains a gap between industry and academia. And the irony is that if you'll ask an academicians, they will say that industry people do not respond. They do not respond to our communication, to our queries, to our request. But on the other hand, if you go to the industry people and ask them, they'll say, no one approaches us. The academicians never comes to us. They never ask us anything. They never ask us for any other kind of suggestions. Otherwise, we have number of suggestions for them so that they can incorporate. And that's an irony, really an irony. But yes, definitely we can look at it. So if you look at it, it's if I have to ask you between conflicting or complementary logic, it is more of a complementary logic, if you'll ask me. So if you look at it from this perspective, then academicians' perspective is primarily for truth seeking. So they want to understand a reason, a phenomena. So they want to, they are more towards problematizing and long-term aspects they look at, which is driven by peer recognition. Their objective or their orientation is towards open disclosure, that they want more and more knowledge to come into the public domain, and they want research freedom. While on the business context, if you look at it from an industry professional perspective, they want more and more applied kind of research. That means they want more practical problem solving. Secondly, they want limited disclosure. They want their IPs to be protected in a very secretive manner. They want, many of times they want their IP to be protected by the trade secret method rather than a patent method. And they might want private appropriation. That means because they are the industries or the companies are profit driven, so they want private appropriation. And there the professionals or the workers are driven majorly by monetary incentives and control, management and control. So many times many people can view this as a conflicting, but I see that as a complementary rather. So this is what we say is why we need collaboration. As we know, the more we share, the more we produce in terms of knowledge. B, when you do a kind of interaction which is focused on mutual knowledge creation or diffusion, you build on the idea of interactive learning. right? And C, the third one is, if you look at it, research and education is more about collaboration. It is an enabling element of both the aspects. So people who are looking at collaboration are actually looking at, the enabling element of research and education, because the more you collaborate, the better will be the results in terms of research and teaching learning. So let's look at the benefits of the linkage between industry and academia. So if you look at from academics perspective, the benefits include expanded research capacity. The second one is definitely something that all of us are always towards, that is project funding or research funding. That's a big benefit. Access to real world cutting edge projects. And that is something which can benefit the academicians like anything. Because many of times we are conducting research, but it is of no use apart from getting some publication. But if we do research in collaboration with the industry, not only will get publications, but at the same time, we will also get licensing revenue, as we will be working on the real world cutting edge projects. We'll be gaining access to equipments, facilities, and other things. We will get a lot of student internships and research assistantships. So this provides an experiential learning opportunities to them. Even once we got into that, we will get many of the working professionals as academicians. Now with NEP 2020 or with the new education policy guidelines, you might have seen that there is a renewed focus on executive education. So these are some major benefits of academia industry linkage to the academic world. Let's look at the other side, that is the benefits to the industry from this linkage. So one of the biggest thing is the industry will be able to lower down their costs. And when I'm saying lower down their cost, that means the cost of R&D, research and development. So not only they are able to lower down the research and development cost, they get access to world-class expertise at a very significantly lower cost. Because when they go with campus research collaborations, that is one of the employ. Another very big benefit to the industry or the corporate or the industry or the firms is that they get an access to a ready-made talent pool. That means future employees, they get ready-made. So your time as well as money on training the employees reduces significantly. Then there are in many various cases, for this is specifically important in context of small and medium enterprises, this particular point. That means they get access to specialized equipments, otherwise which they will not be able to afford. So if you look at it from the SMEs perspective, this is a very big benefit. Licensed intellectual property, again, licensing revenue and licensed intellectual property, that's again becomes that's a complementary aspect, highly correlated to each other. Now, publicity for sponsorships and executive education for employees. And again, this is something. This is again becomes a win-win situation for both the industry and your academia. And this is very much reflected by just the way the number of the big universities or the universities that have the most industry collaborations. And you can very easily see US is economy, why they have been so or been the world leader in those domains, because there is a close interaction between industry and academia. So whether you take Germany or you take South Korea or Sweden, again you will see that there is a very very close relationship. So that not only helps the nation building, it also helps the respective companies as well as the educational institutes, be it universities, institutes, or colleges. So the question comes, why talk about this? So we have to understand that you can do a lot of ways you can do this. So one is you go for, as I said, industry people can go for customized programs. They will have access to competent workforce, research, education. On the other hand, the benefits to the universities will have, can be through curriculum development, funding and support, as well as industry certification. The curriculum development is an important aspect where educational institutes can benefit immensely. And on the other side, by participating in the curriculum development process of the educational organizations, even the industry will benefit immensely, because they will have then all these benefits very easily at a very lesser cost. So you have seen many universities, many institutes running specialized customized programs for a particular organizations. So there will be impact on knowledge. So knowledge impacts because it broadens and deepens the knowledge base through development of new knowledge or new combination of existing knowledge. Like one of the examples can be by providing insights into practical perspectives, validation of theoretical models. It will also have impact on tangible assets. So various institutes, like one of the major benefits to the educational institutes or educational organization is that they can build their physical assets in terms of buildings, in terms of equipments and machineries, state of the art equipments, buildings and physical infrastructure. While companies can have access to test to number of varieties of data, test environments, and so on. If you look at it, the third impact is on the social impact, which is related to the development and maintenance of trust, sense of belonging, and mutual recognition. So the industry people will recognize the academicians, and academicians will be able to recognize the industry professionals. And so, with the other, we will talk about this social impact in my next few slides as well, when I'll be talking of the three pillars. So based on these three impacts only, I'm going to talk about the three pillars for industry academia collaboration. And these three pillars are related to industry and academia. So one pillar which is related to universities or educational institutes is your education. That means providing teaching and learning with the aspect of talent, or the supply of talent or supply of working professionals to the industry. The second one is social responsibility, which both has the mandate for. Now with Corporate Social Responsibility Act or CSR Act, industries are also very much, very much geared towards contributing to this aspect. And the third aspect is research. So research and innovation. So let's look at these three pillars one by one. So industry and academia can collaborate in the area of education by identifying the skills that can make the graduates competitive, professional, and good human beings. So as I said, it will not only benefit the educational institute, it is going to benefit the industry professionals as well. So they can work on various ways together. So one of the huge gap that is still, or I'll rather than gap, rather I'll say one of the huge potential of collaboration is in developing some of the contemporary pedagogical ways for education and training. So for that, you can say we can look at MOOCs, flipped learning or flipped classrooms, outcome-based education, and this is all part of the outcome-based education where you can go for virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on. Now, my question to all of you is, what is virtual reality, augmented reality? Or rather, you tell me, out of this, let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So there are 3 terms that are happening right now: virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality. Out of these, which one is mixed reality? Or which one is virtual reality? Or which one is augmented reality? Okay, absolutely correct. Thank you, Anil sir. The answer is absolutely correct, given very clearly by Anil sir here. Right? So the answer here lies here is yes. 1 is VR, the 2 is AR, and 3 is mixed reality. So this is though augmented reality and mixed reality are very close together, but still that's the difference there. You know, that's you overlay on it. So the point here is, yeah. So absolutely correct. So many of you have given the very absolute correct answer there, right? And you are absolutely correct here that VR, AR, and MR is 3 there. So government is also putting on this. So just to show you the application of AR in this augmented reality, or application of augmented reality in the education, just look at this video.
The HoloLens is absolutely the most amazing piece of technology. Within 5 seconds, I realized that the world had changed. It was an immediate realization that this is something exciting and we have to be a part of this. Seeing things in 3D is something that you could do before with some glasses. The thing that the HoloLens gives you is the ability to walk around those 3D objects and to really experience them as if they're in the room with you.
It is augmented reality, it is mixed reality. And what that means is I still see you, I still see this room and everything around me, but the digital content is inserted into the room as if it's actually there.
As a teacher, I can see what they're all looking at. And that's something that we think has real power.
It's actually opening up our interactions with each other.
The biggest drive is getting the anatomy curriculum completely done by the time we move into the new health education campus.
Today, we at the Cleveland Clinic are constructing a state-of-the-future health education campus. Our students will learn using the most forward-looking educational programs. HoloLens is a key part of this.
The actual act of dissection hasn't changed in generations. We have to be much, much more effective and efficient.
The biggest thing about medical school is there's just so much information and so much knowledge you're being asked to learn.
HoloLens is going to enable us to teach in an integrated way and to look at the body in ways they haven't been able to see it. It's sort of having X-ray vision, seeing through the skin.
my mind was just kind of blown when I tried it on. It was perfect. It's really hard to understand what the anatomy book's trying to tell you. So with the HoloLens, we can literally show you what's happening with the body.
We can look at how the heart moves, or look at how the brain processes information, how information flows around in our brain.
They can see when the heart valves are closing and hear the sounds.
How the diaphragm moves, when the lungs move. A click of the fingers is going to allow students to see how everything's interconnected in the body.
We have means to draw people's attention to things to get them where they need to look. Do you want to look and then pull the bones out?
What they really crave is learning anatomy in the context of what they need to know clinically. What are they going to need to know for their clerkships and their future careers?
So with HoloLens, we can have essentially any disease that you want to see.
So when I see an image like this in the hospital, I know exactly what's going on. This is how to treat and diagnose them. The HoloLens provides like a new way of teaching anatomy. It can really speed up the process of learning this material.
I think HoloLens is the next big transformative change in medical education.
So you might have seen here in this particular one, even the Microsoft is now partnering with the Cleveland Clinic, which is the one of the biggest medical hospital in the US. Now, it's again, just imagine the kind of potential this particular domain holds for industry academia collaboration. The kind of see the benefits to your education institute, you can very easily think of it. The kind of engagement, the kind of effectiveness it will have on the teaching learning process is going to be huge, and which will ultimately result in the OBE. Similarly, for the industries, it is again a huge, beneficial situation, because they are going to get, they'll be able to reduce their training costs significantly, and their employees will be very much ready to go, or the students or the workforce will be, on the job training kind of things can be provided to them. Apart from the government of India is also doing a huge part in this. Just these two people, these two power couple, are you aware about them? They are CEO and CEO of which firm? Yeah, it's Meta. Absolutely correct, Malini ma'am. So it's Meta. The question is why they have changed the name from Facebook to Meta. Just look at this. Another huge area. Same of mixed.
So we're going to have an astrophysicist in the family.
Actually, I have to write this paper. Will you help me?
Let's take a closer look. What part of the solar system are we talking about?
Saturn.
If you were taking astrophysics, you could study in the metaverse.
Did you know the rings are made up of billions of icy particles?
Really?
Look at this.
You're ready to do that paper now, right?
Yeah.
In the metaverse, you'll be able to teleport not just to any place, but any time as well. Ancient Rome. Imagine standing on the streets, hearing the sounds, visiting the markets, to get a sense of the rhythm of life over 2,000 years ago. Imagine learning how the Forum was built by actually seeing the Forum get built right in front of you.
So that's why they have changed, because I just coordinated one of the FDP titled Education in the Metaverse Era. And I've found huge potential, and various of the resource persons who came from the industry, be it a consulting domain or manufacturing domain or service domain, all of them vouched that this is an area which can be a game changer for them as well. You can see the potential for definitely it can be a game changer if it, the various things are going into the positive side only. From the academicians, it is, very much easily, you can see the immersiveness, the kind of experience it will provide. But if, the industry also thinks in the same way. That's what my observation was. while at the end of the that particular FDP which I coordinated. Now, I see is a huge potential between collaboration between industry and academia, provided we both of us becomes proactive. That means both industry and academia has to be a little bit proactive, because there is huge amount of content has to be developed on this regard. The second, as I said, is about social responsibility, right, or social commitment of approach, right? So social projects that can provide learning, so industry can provide funding for that, right? So they have a CSR fund which they can provide to the academic institute, because this is one of the biggest issue with the companies, that many of the companies are unable to find ways to spend their CSR fund. So educational institutes can partner them for that. So in the areas of social entrepreneurship. Now this is something, a beautiful example, right? Anand Mahindra said that he liked to be a part of this social project, which is also an economic project as well. You know what is this? This is a 3D printed house which was printed by a firm at IIT Madras. So this startup printed this house, and this startup was incubated at IIT Madras. So look at it, IIT Madras getting benefits, the startup getting benefit, and even the company like Mahindra, if Anand Mahindra, I don't know whether they actually partnered with them or not, whether he invested it or not, but they also get benefited. So win-win situation, and at the end of the day, the India as a country gets huge benefit, because there are huge strata of people who requires low cost, stable and affordable houses, and that can be one of the answers if we really works on it, if both industry and academia works on it jointly. And this is, as I said, this first point of research and innovation, right? So you create an innovation ecosystem, because when industry and academia closely collaborate on the aspects of research, the whole innovation ecosystem improves, which not only benefits both the parties, but it benefits nation as a whole. It makes, in the words of Michael Porter, it makes the nation competitive. So this is an example where both, anyone of you know this product? What is this product? Anyone knows what this lady is carrying on her forehead? So if you don't know, this is Godrej Chotu Cool, a product which was developed by Godrej in association with academic institutes. I think Harvard and IIM Ahmedabad, both of the organizations participated with them, and they did an ethnographic study. So they did an ethnographic research in order to find out the needs and requirements of the people living in slums, or who are on the move usually, or the slum dwellers who keeps on shifting their houses here and there. This ethnographical research was carried out by the educational institutes, and then I think they also took help of some of the IIT. I'm not sure about it, but I'm quite sure about Harvard, that Harvard definitely was one of the collaborators in this particular project. And this became a huge hit, not only for the slum dwellers, but for the not only for the bottom of pyramid people, but also for the upper strata of the pyramid as well. So if you look at it, industry and academia can join hands in various ways. And one of the reasons, or one of the areas where there exists a huge opportunity, is the curriculum design. So industry peoples can chip in with their practical experiences. Academia can look at soft skills. So the moment you come out with the industry integrated curricula, not only the problems of employability, as you know, the one of some of the government and the NESCOM studies have come out with this findings again and again, that very less percentage, or significantly lesser percentage of graduates are employable. So if this collaboration or this association between industry and academia strengthens, not only it makes graduates more employable, more industry ready, it increase or it benefits the nation as a whole. Whether to go for closeness and similarity, I'll say it's a double-edged sword, because you'll go for similar, then you will it's easier to understand each other and work together. But that there can be other side as well. If we are too same, then what is the scope for complementarity? How will get the complement each other, and how the novelty will come. So, but each of the institutes, each of the universities has to find its own path. So with this, I'll stop here. But what I will say here, to conclude my thing, this talk, that there is a huge scope for industry academia collaboration in a country like India. We have to, who has to, as I said, both the parties are waiting for the others to come in. So one of the parties has to take, or bear the initial pain, and let us be the academic institutes to take that step. Because the moment you will take that, first, one thing we have to understand, that industry people are usually loaded with work pressure. No, I'm not saying that the academicians are not. Comparatively, I'm talking here, right? Comparatively, the industry professionals are more pressurized with work. So we have to take that lead first. A. B. Start with small things, inviting them. Many of you might be doing that thing. I know many of the institutes are doing that, but the institutes who are not doing that, they can start by inviting some of the industry professionals for small talks. Don't expect to get from industry professionals immediately, or from the industry. Start giving them something back first, and then start asking from them. So you can start by taking up their real world problems. Tell them, give us some real world problems that can be taken care of in the offline method. That means that can be done remotely. And then go to them with a solution. That will build rapport with them. And once you'll with them, involve industries from various domains. Do not focus on one domain, because otherwise what will happen, if that industry goes into a negative spiral, your student enrollment will also go in negative spiral. So have 4 or 5 diverse kind of industries to collaborate and incorporate their views into your curricular design. So that is what I will. This is all from my side.